Hi everyone, we are the group 3 and today we are going to present to you our topic entitled Materialistic or Economic Self. And so here are the members: Feb Angeli Giuano, truly yours. Members: Don Aldrich M. Badino, Franz J. Lumpas Kempes, Scott De Los Santos, Ismael O. Cabus, Ariston Pagar, Carl Jan De Rayanon, and Janfred Sumuok. So for the next slide is the learning outcomes. So after the learning session, the students are able to, first, is to understand the self-empirical and its components. Second is to understand how low self-esteem can reduce the quality of a person's life. And third is how to increase awareness when it comes to self-esteem. So what is materialistic or economic self? So according to William James, materialism is a variable relevant to many aspects of economic psychology. It is a discussion of the potential relationships between materialism and several economic variables, including use of money, work, etc., and materialism. It is also the use of economic goods in social communication and the potential role of materialism in such communication. So economic self-sufficiency is the ability of individuals and families to maintain sufficient income to consistently meet their needs, including food, housing, utilities, healthcare, transportation, taxes, dependent care, and clothing with no or minimal financial assistance or subsidies from private or public. So pasabot ani for me is that we need to work in order to have an income to meet our daily needs, especially sa mga shelter, mga food, water, and other important needs sa atong kinabuhi. So for the next slide is the empirical self. So what is empirical self? So according to William James again, it is the self that is known by the self rather than the self as knower. So medyo naglibog ko nga side tupit sa quote ni William James, pero empirical self is the aspect of the self knowable by experience. So for me, sir, in my opinion, or what I have understand is that it is your perspective in life. The way you handle situation is based on your own experience. So, sa mga kaagi. So for example, na kay iPhone na cellphone, kay baw ka nga dali ra malubat, nan mo palit naman ka og lain na iPhone nga kasabot naman ka nga dali ra malubat. Something like that ang pagsabot, sir. And it doesn't really matter what other people will advise you to do or know. You already know and only believe things, the right and the wrong, based on what you have experienced, unsay mga kaagi, what you saw, unsay mga nakita, or what you have heard or what you have felt.
I'm Don Aldrich M. Badino, the next reporter. So my topic is 3 components of empirical self. So the 3 components of empirical self, sir, is the material self, the social self, and the spiritual self. And I am assigned in the material self, which talks about the bodily components of material self requires a little explanation. A person speaks of my arms or my legs. These entities are clearly an intimate part of who we are. But our sense of self is not limited to our bodies. It includes other people, my children, pets, my dogs, possession, my car, place, my hometown, and the products of our labors, my painting. It is not the physical entities themselves, however, that comprise the material self. So, what is material self? Example: a material self is made up of everything that a person owns, like his, her car, clothes, family, friends. For example, na ako'y gadgets and clothes, and all of this will be contribution of my material self, sir. So tanan ko no nga naa nako or matawag na ko nga ako is katotanan na ato'y reflection sa akong kaugalingon. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Good day, sir. My name is Franz L. Kimpis. I'm here in front of you to discuss the topic of Group 3, and the assignment topic is the social self. Social self refers to how we are regarded and recognized by others. Built on Jim's analysis, modern research have proposed that we also process a relational self. The self defined in terms of specific interpersonal self. Sinasabi dito na ang pansariling panlipunan ay tumutukoy sa kung paano kami ginagalang at kinikilala ng iba. Ang pagbuo sa James analysis na modernong mananaliksik ay iminungkahi na magkaroon din kami ng isang kaugnayan sa sarili. Ang sarili ay tinutukoy na mga tuntunin ng mga tiyak na interpersonal na relasyon. Example, sir. Pagiging isang social self is dito ka tinitingnan kung dapat ka bang igalang, at dito ka tinitingnan na dapat ka rin makilala kung ano ka, sino ka talaga. Tulad ng example na, sir, meron isang tao na gusto kang makilala, ngunit hindi ka malapitan dahil siya ay na-afraid sa'yo. At ang kanyang ginawa ay minamanmanan ka lang niya sa social media. Example, Facebook. Bawat galaw mo dun, kung ano ang pinapakita mo, diyan sa bumabase kung ano ka, at kung paano kanya dapat makilala, at kung dapat ka bang irespeto niya, at kung dapat ka ba maging isang mabuting kaibigan. Ayun, sir. And based sa James analysis, modern research, sinasabi dito na the self defined in terms of specific interpersonal self. Ang sarili ay tinutukoy na mga tuntunin ng mga tiyak na interpersonal na relasyon. Ang kaugnayan na sarili ay may kasamang lahat na individual na tinuturing amin, katulad sa magulang, kapatid, at romantikong kasosyo, mga kaibigan na doses at mga kasamahan. Example, sir, tuntunin sa ating sarili, paninterpersonal na relasyon. Kung na, sir, aton pamilya, may tuntunin tayong dapat tuparin kung paano natin pahalagahan ang ating mga mahal sa buhay sa pamilya, na hindi natin iiwan sa lahat ng laban. At yan ang interpersonal na relasyon sa ating sarili, family, and your jowa, sir. Amala, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my name is Carl John Garcian, and I'm here in front of you to discuss about spiritual self. The spiritual self is you in your most beautiful and powerful form. It is the authentic self, the unconditioned part that you without pattern. This is personal for us, so need to get caught up on the language. On your process, you got to know this part of yourself, as we call it your spiritual self. Spiritual self, it is interesting to the note close connection James drew between our possession, which are aspects, which are components of the spiritual self. As Abelson 1986 observed, the similarity is captured in our language. A person is said to have a belief from the time the belief is first acquired to the time discarded or lost. We also say things like inherited of you or I can't by that. Finally, we speak of people who have abandoned their conviction or disown an earlier position. These terms imply that positions and attitudes share an underlying conceptual property. They are both owned by the self. Material self pertains to the object places, and even people which have the label mind. For example, it is smoke up person on like his or her can house, clothes, etc. As a Benson of 1986, both spiritual self and material self have both similarities.
Good day everyone, I'm Ismail Okabus and I will be reporting about low self-esteem and quality of life. Let's define first what is a self-esteem. Self-esteem is a personal opinion you have of yourself that relates how you feel about yourself. And self-esteem is a sense of that involves thoughts and emotion and influence on how we perceive and to interact to the world. Self-esteem is also a assesstive value or assessment value of yourself. It's all about how you or what is yourself. What is your opinion? What are your thoughts about yourself? And then we are down to what is low self-esteem. Low self-confidence is someone who lacks confidence about who they are or what they can do. They are often feel incompetent, unloved, or inadequate. Also, low self-esteem affects to our daily lives, the things that we do, and to the others that involves in us. So, low self-esteem can reduce the quality of person's life in many different ways, including negative feelings, relationship problems, fear of trying, perfectionism, fear of judgment, low resilience, lack of self-care, and also self-harming behaviors. And this one is the worst. So, negative feelings. The constant self-criticism can lead to persistent feelings of sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, shame, or even guilt. Because of self-esteem, low self-esteem, you are enraged to this sadness, depression, anxiety, anger, shame, or even guilt because you don't have the self-esteem to sustain what are these, to overcome these obstacles. These are obstacles in your life and you have to overcome this, but having a low self-esteem is very hard to overcome. Next is the relationship problems. For example, they may tolerate all sorts of unreasonable behaviors from partners because they believe that they must earn love and friendship, cannot be loved, or are not lovable. Alternatively, a person with low self-esteem can may feel angry and bully other people. And having a low self-esteem in a relationship can be triggered to distrust or mistrusting. They can earn distrust, but having a low self-esteem can really have a bad impact on the relationship. Low self-esteem also can give a rise to jealousy, this jealousy and insecurity in a relationship. You may question your worthiness to your partner, and it is normal to such people with low self-esteem to expect that their partner may be attracted to someone or will leave their relationship because, like, for example, you have a girlfriend and you're her boyfriend and you have self-esteem, so even your person, he is giving a hard time for you, comforting you, while you have a self-esteem and you're just thinking, not just thinking, but in another word, you're thinking that someday my girlfriend will leave me too. And that's the bad side, because you shouldn't have think that, because he love you what you are, even though you have self-esteem. That's why don't embrace yourself. Love her more. Give all your best. Next is we have the fear of trying. The person may doubt your abilities of worth and avoid challenges. This fear of trying really implies to those people, especially to those low self-esteem, even not a low self-esteem, even me. I'm afraid of trying, but I don't have a low self-esteem. People with low self-esteem always had a doubt to their own abilities, whether they can do or we can't do it, or we don't do it. But for real, they can literally do it. It just they have a low self-esteem. For example, in the classroom, there is a recitation, and it's literally that you know the answer, but because of fear of trying, you don't raise your hand, you just sit on your chair and you just write or what you do. You don't, it's nothing that you don't cooperate, but you have the low self-esteem. That's why you are fear of trying. But if you try, I think you can answer it confidently. Next is the perfectionism. A person may push themselves to become an overachiever to atone what they see as their inferiority. It implies to some people that to those people who are eager to be on top, those people wants to be top, and also because it is from expectation. For example, expectation came from their parents. Because of low self-esteem, they can't do anything but to push yourself to the top, even they can't. What I mean to that, to those parents who have high expectation to their sons or daughters, that my son, my daughter can get a passing grade or will be on the top, and while you don't have that goal, and you can tell your parents that, mom, dad, I can do that. Why? Because you can't say anything, then why? It's because of low self-esteem that you can't interact with your parents and can't say or can't regret. Can't say what you want to say. You can't do it. I can do a passing grade, but I can do a very very high grade. You are just pushed to be, you are just pushed by yourself, low self-esteem, to be on the top. So the next is fear of judgment. Oh my god. This fear of judgment really implies to those people, to other people around this globe. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Because of fear of judgment, they may avoid activities that involves other people, like sports or social events, because they afraid that they will be neglected and being judged. The person feels self-conscious and stressed around others and constantly look for signs that people don't like them, and they will back out. That's how sad and that's how terrible to those people who have so low self-esteem, because these people fear that they will be judgment, because there are people who are really judgmental. That's why they are afraid of being judged, like you you are a dumb, you're a loser, and even you're not worth it, and also you're you're a failure. Example of these are like sports. Example, basketball. Because you don't want to be judged, you just don't play basketball. And also, you don't know how to play basketball. But We are now on the last slide. So let's finish this. So we have low resilience. This resilience, a person with low self-esteem finds it hard to cope with a challenging life events because they already believe that themselves to be hopeless. Being hopeless is so terrible. 'Cause you can't win a challenge if you're always hopeless. That's why you have the courage to overcome the challenge and pass it through. Overcome it. Go for it. This low resilience tends them to be hopeless for solving problems and challenges that may lead them just to give up without doing anything. For example, problems like something happens to your life that it is unexpected, and because of your low resilience, you don't do anything. You just sit right here and moan. But moaning doesn't do anything with you. That's why you have to stand up and find a way to solve that problem as soon as possible. For example, for the quiz, don't be so hopeless that you don't know. Find a way to find the answer. Cheat. Don't. Don't cheat. Solve it with your own, because solving a problem with your own is a very big achievement to yourself. Next is we have lack of self-care. The person may care so little that they will neglect or abuse themselves. For example, drinking too much alcohol. Drinking too much alcohol is because of lack of care. You don't even care to your body, even your internal organs. You're just taking and taking and taking so many drinking alcohols that will leaves you and that will risk your liver. You can have liver cirrhosis that will pop up your liver and it will leaves you to death. That's why always care about yourself, because self-care is the best care. Even there's someone who will care to you, always care about yourself. So the last part and the dangerous one, this is the most so self-harming behaviors. This low self-esteem puts the person at increased risk of self-harm. For example, eating disorder and drug abuse, or even suicide. This is the most dangerous among of these because it can already lead you to death. If low self-esteem cannot prevent it immediately, and there are many things that will happen to you, not only you but to the other people. These examples already lead you to death. That's why never engage to these aspects or to these doings. Even you have low self-esteem, find a way to defeat your low self-esteem. Be a positive steamer and steam some of your friends. You don't know you're not the one who had just low self-esteem. There are people that also have low self-esteem in the other world, other places around this world, even in our country. But what they do, they find a way, they find some people that can they help to them. So I would recommend to find those people that will really help you and not that will make you do these things. So there's a saying that being happy being happy with who you are is the first step of being confident. If you have self-esteem, then you will be confident. And also, always remember that you are beautiful, you are worthy, you are important, you are special, you are unique, you are wonderful, you are talented, and you are irreplaceable. Always remember that. Thank you.
Good day, sir. My name is Janfred Sumook. My topic is all about causes of low self-esteem. Some of the many causes of low self-esteem may include unhappy childhood and significant people such as our family were extremely critical to us. That's why it means, sir, yung family natin critical masyado, lalo ng bata pa hanggang ngayon, mahigpit ba? Diyan nagkakakos ng low self-esteem kasi masyadong nawawalan din ng confidence at saka hindi masayahin yung pagiging bata niya kung masyadong mahigpit ang kanyang parents. And also kung may friends man siya na nagbubuli, kaya nagkakakos ng low of self-esteem. Kagaya niyan. And next is poor academic performance in school resulting in a lack of confidence. Hindi, yung mga ganyan na bagay, sir, kagaya ng low yung grades niya, low yung grades natin, napapagalitan agad ni teacher, tas dyan, pati mga classmates, pinagtatawanan, lalo na kung slow reader, dyan nagkakakos ng low self-esteem. Lalong nadidepress or nawawala ng confidence ang isang bata dahil dyan sa mga poor academic, dahil din sa mga classmates na nagbubuli. Also, ongoing stressful like events such as relationship breakdown or financial trouble. Yung ano ba, sir, yung nagbe-break kayo ng jowa nyo, kagaya niyan, nagkakakos yan ng low self-esteem kasi masyado siyang nag-iisip, tas tulala lang, walang wala sa sarili. Then there are many also causes na sa financial natin kulang, lalo na ngayon pag college na, maraming gastusin tsaka pag tuition. Diyan nawawalan ng gana mismo, nawawalan ng confidence. Yung iba naman ay susumikap sila, hindi nila inaalintana yung mga sinasabi ng iba, tas pinapagpatuloy lang yung kanilang sarili. Mga ganyang tao, sir, mga ganyang matatatag yan at saka masisipag. And also, sir, there are poor treatment from a partner. Kagaya niyan, sir, yung kanyang parang jowa niya, parang malabo sila, nag-aaway parate. And also, mga mental illness, sir. Diyan ang mga cause ng low self-esteem. Mga mental illness such as mga anxiety, or may mga depression na sa mga past. And ang mga sign, malalaman natin ng isang tao ay low self-esteem. Ang mga signs niyan ay nagparating nagsasabi ng mga negative na bagay, tas critical sa kanyang sarili, tas parating focus sa negatives, mga negative vibes, ganyan. Pinofokusan niya parating negative, tas iniisip niya parating ibang tao kaysa sa kanyang sarili. Yan ang mga signs ng low self-esteem. There are many also, sir, parang yung mga sad ba, depressed talaga sila. Yan ang mga causes ng low self-esteem. We can also, sir, fix the low self-esteem by we can also fix our low self-esteem by doing something good, mga positive vibes parate, like playing basketball, jamming with friends. Yan ang mga ways, sir, para ma-boost natin ang ating self-esteem. And dapat nagti-think about tayo sa mga good na bagay, hindi mga negative things. And dapat nag-spend more time tayo sa ating mga parents or sa friends or other relatives. Also, ang pag-volunteer sa mga gawain, lalo na sa municipality, also can boost our low of self-esteem. And that's all, sir.